Um, Hi. Mr. Davis isn't here anymore, so I'm gonna make the video for him. He said I could do it, and it's really.
Billy, get off my chair! How many times did I tell you to stop trying to record videos? It's my job.
You jerk!
Hello, welcome back to another Flash video tutorial. This video is going to cover timers. Super exciting. Create a new ActionScript 3.0 document. We're going to save it to our H drive as our name, or technically your name, dash timers. And then just go ahead and press save. I already have one, so I'm going to replace it. Once we have that done, on our layer, rename it to actions, and then go ahead and open up that actions window. Very first thing we want to do is we're going to make a timer that counts for 1 minute, and it'll count every second. So it'll basically be a minute timer counting the seconds, right? Straightforward. So the first thing we need to do is make a variable. So I'll say step one, for that, I guess however many times we want this timer to tick. So in this case, we're going to do 60 seconds. So we're going to set count equal to 60. Okay. And then on step 2, we want a variable for how long our tick is. A tick would be every time, imagine the second hand moving on a clock. Every time it moves, it ticks. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So we'll say tick, and we'll make it an integer, and we'll set it equal to 1000. We'll put a comment here. The tick needs to be in milliseconds. So that means 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. From there, we need to create a timer. How do we do that? Well, we say var my timer, because timer is just a variable. So the name is my timer. The type is timer. We'll set it equal to a new timer. And the structure for this is the tick first, or the delay, I guess you want to call that. So we could call this delay if it made more sense to you. I like to call it tick, but tick, and then repeat count, how many times it actually repeats. We'll say count. So in this case, we'll make a timer that ticks every second and does that 60 times. You can delete count if you want to make it run forever. So what I mean by that is if you didn't want it to just tick 60 times, you could just say timer tick, open close parentheses inside, just have tick, and that's it, and then it'll run forever. You don't have to worry about it timing out. So step 4, well, we actually have to start the timer technically, because we can create this timer, but if we never start it, it never actually runs. So I like to do this here at this point just because it's keeping the creation and the starting and all that all together. Then we also need to add an event listener for our timer event. And wow, I messed that up. Sorry, I skipped a step. So step 5 is starting the timer. Step 4 is adding the event listener for the timer to actually call a function every time it ticks. So my timer, sorry about that, add event listener. Okay, we'll listen for a timer event. The timer event is timer. There's also an event for timer complete if you only want it to do something after the time has finished. But we'll just call this 60 seconds. Okay, so step 6 is actually creating this function. So 6, what is the function? The function 60 seconds. We are expecting a timer event, and we are not returning anything, so we'll say void. So now to demonstrate this, we can just say trace the word tick and then run. So every second we should get the word tick, and that should tick 60 times. But let's actually have it say what tick we're on. Timer comes with a built-in function, or I guess property. So let's call my timer, and that property is called current count. And that'll give you whatever count the timer is currently on. So what we have here so far is we'll have a timer that'll tick from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 60, and we're counting in 1 second intervals, ending with a minute. So that's pretty much it. That's all there is to timers, really. Pretty simple steps, but let's go over resetting the timer. Let's say you wanted to restart it because, a power-up got reset, I don't know, picked up a power up or the cooldown on your enemy, or whatever you want to use. Let's add an event listener for the mouse click on the stage, and let's just call this click listener. So we'll say function click listener expecting a mouse event. Then we're not returning anything, so void. Let's trace out restart timer, just so we know in our output that that's actually happening. And let's go ahead and say my timer.reset. Now, resetting the timer, and you can look all this stuff up in the API, all that does is actually it stops it, it resets the variables, and that's it. If we want to start it again, we have to say my timer.start again. Okay, so once you have that, run, and you'll see in the top left that our timer is ticking, and if we click, it restarts the timer, and it starts again at 1. So timers, besides just being useful for counting time, you can actually use that in place of an enter frame event. So if you dropped count off of the timer and you just had, whatever the delay is or the tick is, then you could use your main code, like move objects inside of timer, and pretty much do whatever you want. So that's about it for timers. They're pretty straightforward, maybe a couple of steps, but I mean, that's not complicated at all. So that's it for this video, and you have yourself a wonderful day. I gotta go deal with Billy, because he's a problem. He's a problem child.